Tape Deck Media.
It's Tuesday, so that means tomorrow is New Comic Book Day. Welcome to a new episode of Panel Picks, where we're going to be discussing what's coming out, what's hot, and what we're looking forward to. I'm your host, Dan Bublis Jr., and with me is my co-host,
Jeremy Plum.
How are you, Jeremy?
I'm great.
That's fantastic. Fantastic. There's a lot of great stuff coming out this week.
Yeah.
Especially because Valentine's Day is coming around the corner, so you have that holiday themed stuff. I'm a big fan of when the holiday stuff when they do it, because they'll do a lot of stuff like for Halloween, they'll do a lot of stuff for Christmas, the Valentine's Day. I enjoy some of the Christmas stuff. They did a Batman Santa Claus run for Christmas this last year. That was a lot of fun. I enjoyed that. They also did a Silent Night thing, I think, or So they did some Christmas themed stuff, which I thought was a lot of fun. But for Valentine's Day, looks like some fun stuff.
Yeah, I'm not a fan. Not like I dislike it, but I'm not always like super excited when I see a Christmas themed comic or Halloween. But there are some goofy looking Valentine's Day books that I'm gonna get.
Well, if you're a nerdy and a hopeless romantic, then this is your month because that's what they're going to be doing. Cheesy romance stuff for Valentine's Day. And some of the stuff looks fun, but we'll talk more about that as we get into the episode when we start talking about what's coming out this week. But before we do that, let's talk about what we read this week. What I know, we both read a comic that we couldn't wait for. That's right. There it is. Moon
so
Man.
Excited. Oh, it was sold out. Quickly sold out. Hard to get, but I love that book so much.
I had to get a variant cover, and I was just lucky I got it.
Well, the variant art looks amazing. All of the variant arts look so good. It's like even the main cover all the art looks amazing. Even the art inside of it is like trippy and kinetic and just wet, like wild.
It's such a great, and it was a good read. I really like the story. I'm very intrigued to see where it's going. If you're not familiar with this book, it did come out just last week, so you might be able to find it. It was selling out at a lot of places, so I mean, it might be a harder one to get, but hopefully, I mean, if it sells out, they might do a second printing.
I already looked it up. There's a second printing end of February.
Okay, there you go. There's a second printing coming. But yeah, if you're not familiar, it was a book by Kid Cudi. And in addition to the book, he's dropping soundtracks for the books.
Yep. Every issue, there's a new song. The new song just released like last night. So
Black Ops. I listened to it right before we recorded, actually. I read the book this morning. I didn't get a chance to read a lot this week. I've been still recovering. I was sick last week. If you listened to the podcast last week, you know I was sick because I was having a heck of a time talking. I'm a lot better now, but I was recovering from that, and I was just busy catching up on a lot of things. So I didn't get a lot of time to read this week, but I did make sure. I knew you were going to read that this week. I knew we were going to have to talk about it. So I read it before, and then I saw that 2-page spread in there advertising the soundtrack, and I was like, oh, a song? And so I went and listened to it, and it is really good.
Yeah. Man, I can't wait. I love a good sci-fi read, and this was good. Also, I was a sucker as a kid whenever we saw, like, here's how a script is written, here's some sketches, here's how it's inked and colored. And this book is thick, and there's like almost another 20 pages dedicated to just how that book is made.
Yeah, a lot of extras in it. Yeah, it's a great book. Definitely worth picking up if you can find it, because like I said, it's a good read. It's going to be a good story, and when you have that added bonus of it coming with a soundtrack, that's just cool. Yeah, I think that's cool when comics do that. I know we're not always going to be talking about independent creators and if we do, we usually save it towards the end. But I do want to just do a quick shout out to a buddy of mine who is a comedian and a comic book creator, Thomas Nichols. He has two different series. He has a series called Just Us Cops, which is it's basically cops. The criminals are like cartoon characters, essentially. It's a really cool concept. But he also has a book. I think he just released number 2 or is about to. It's called T-Horror, and it's a horror book, obviously. But the first issue that he had a full soundtrack for it too. So like,
Really?
there's music for it too, which really cool concept. So
okay, you'll have to you'll actually just have to like text me that after this podcast because I'll read that tonight.
Well, I don't know that you can get it online. That's the only bad part.
Fine. I will still buy it and have it shipped.
I will. I'll point you to his website because he doesn't. He just he's a very indie like he only. Perfect. I think he sells it probably through his website and such.
Nice.
So, but anyway, so shout out to Thomas Nichols. He's a great comedian, great comic book writer. And like I said, I just wanted to throw that out there because of the soundtrack thing, which I think is really cool. Hey. You also read Cobra Commander because I was raving over it last week.
People who saw last week's episode or listened to last week's episode found out that I bought it during the episode.
Yep.
And then I didn't read it that day. I read it at work. And I knew, here's the thing, background. I've never seen an episode of G.I. Joe. I do not own a G.I. Joe toy. I think I saw one of the live action movies in the Dollar Theater. So I know nothing about these characters. I was still blown away because, the writer's also the writer of the current Superman run. And he just crafted this really fun, making Cobra Commander almost a slasher villain in a way. And then there's a reveal, and that reveal,
yes,
it still shocked me. Like, it's a really cool book, and it was so cool. I bought all 4 issues of Transformers and that same day, and I read all 4 issues, and I'm debating about getting Void Rivals, and I might get Duke. Maybe.
I sent Jeremy down a rabbit hole because I was, and I'm okay with it. Welcome to my generation, Jeremy. You're quite a bit younger than me, and those are things that are from my generation, and so I'm stoked that you read it and enjoyed it.
Really good. It's really good. I might at least first 10 issues. I will go for the first 10 issues and see if I'm in it after that. But I like it.
Awesome. Well, let's start talking about this week because there's a lot to cover. Like I said, with the holiday coming out, there's a lot of great books coming out.
I want to give a shout out to one person I read. You said an indie comic creator. I'd like to give out. I read Kaijus and Cowboys by Frank Washington. And issue 4 has a Kickstarter that comes out in April. That's a good book. That's a 90s Mirage book. Nice.
I still haven't had a chance to read it yet, but it's on my agenda. I'm glad you read it though.
So good. I don't do a lot of Kickstarters. I will be throwing money on that the day one it happens. It is good.
Oh, that's fantastic. Well, that's good to see. That's good to hear. There you go. I think it was Cambria Comics is the company too.
Oh, nice. So,
yeah. I think that's the company because I talked a little bit about it last week because we had mentioned that we got the books, but we just haven't had a chance to read them. And that means if you're listening to this and you're an indie comic book creator and your comics aren't up through, if we can't get them through distribution, you're that independent, but you want to get the word out about your comic books, send us an email, panelpicspodcast@gmail.com. We'll try to give you a shout out. If you send us, an e-version of it, we'll try to read it. And we're not really reviewing comics and, because we're not going to be like, oh, that comic sucked or blah, 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 blah. That's not our intent here. We're trying to elevate everybody. So, and we just want to talk about things that we love. So we're trying to keep it positive here. But if you have those things, send them our way.
Yeah.
Send them our way. Or hit that hashtag indie panel picks.
Yep. Every Monday we'll try and do like a thread showcasing some cool people. And so, it is the end of January, beginning of February. Are you doing a 500 comics goal this year, Dan? Or a 100?
Am I? No, I don't think.
Okay.
Well, I don't know. I mean, if I really sat down and read, I could probably do more than that because I typically read depending on what's going on. But if I sit down to read, I'll read, 7 to 10 books in one sitting.
If you broke down my graphic novels as single issues, which I do, I'm at 120 for January.
Oh wow, you're already there. Whoa. See, I don't keep track of how many I read. Is that something I'm supposed to do? Is that a rule that I should be doing?
It's fun for me. I use a notepad app on my phone and I just write it all out, and that's fun.
Oh. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, maybe I'll do that.
Yeah.
I'm just looking. Well, I'd have to read I'd have to read at least 10 a week, I think.
Yeah.
To get to that. To get to 500 comics for the year, yeah, I'd have to. Okay.
Yeah.
10 a week. Huh. Well, I don't know, because I've already lost January. It's February, and I've lost January because I don't know how many I read. I could probably go back and look and figure it out. But
there's a lot of good comics in February. A lot.
There are, yes, especially coming out tomorrow.
Oh my God. What's your number one? What's your number one pull this week?
My number one pull, I've been reading Crave, and I'm excited. Number 3 is coming out, so I'm excited for that. That's probably at the top of my list. It's a really cool. So it's about this app. It's like a mysterious app that like these people, they're like in college or whatever, but it's an app that makes desires come true.
Okay.
And so it's, it's more risque. It's an adult comic.
Okay.
Yeah, there's, mature themes in the comic, but it's a really cool story so far.
Nice.
Is that pretty intriguing? Huh?
Is that Image?
No, I think it is. What is it? Sumerian, maybe. Let me double check that. It is. Oh, it is Image. Oh, my bad. It is Image. You were right. Boom, nailed it. It is Image.
That sounds really cool. There's a lot of Image books that are like in their first 10 issues that I was like, I kind of want to pick that up. Crave might be one.
I've been enjoying it so far. And then the other one that I'm really excited for that's coming out this week is Kneel Before Zod.
Really?
2. Yeah, Kneel Before Zod number 2 comes out this week. I read the first one last week and really enjoyed it.
Okay. And you don't like Superman?
I don't like Superman, but hey, I like a Superman villain.
Fair.
Anybody try to kill Superman is all right with me.
You'd read a Luther book?
Probably.
Okay. You know what? It's issue 2. I might pick it up. I'm enjoying it so far.
And again, I'm coming from the mindset I don't like Superman. Yeah. I'm not a big. I know who General Zod is, but I'm not as familiar with the character, obviously, because I don't read Superman. But the artwork's really cool in it. It's so far it's been a pretty good book. I enjoyed it so far. Nice. So number 2 is coming out this week, so I'm excited about that.
Nice.
I have a couple other pulls coming that I got, but that are just on my regular pull list already. But those are the 2 that I think I'm most excited about. That are already on my pull list. Now there's some other stuff coming out that I'm pretty excited about. I know you are. We mentioned it before we started recording when we were kind of talking about it. The One Hand is a book that's coming out.
That looks really cool.
That looks really cool.
I'm a sucker for horror comics, and that also Ram V wrote the not a reboot, but like a new edition of Swamp Thing. And took some cool risks, and I liked it. So, yeah, I'm down. I'm. It's also a mini.
I'm excited. Well, and it's also crime, and so that's what's got me. It's like a sci-fi horror crime, like a noir. The description that they have is that Neo Navina detective Ari Nasser is about to retire with an inevitable record until a brutal murder occurs, bearing all the hallmarks of the one-hand killer, which should be impossible since Ari already put him away once, but not once, but twice in the years before. So it could be, follows a deadly cat and mouse game as Ari pursues his quarry down the rain-soaked streets of Neo Navia. Ari will stop at nothing to unravel the secrets and ciphers of this case, but each revelation only leads further into the dark heart of future Metropolis and Ari's own bewildered soul. So
Yeah.
it looks good. I mean, that sounds good.
It sounds really cool. I'm down. I'll pick that up. It's not on my pull list, but it's there. The
Yeah,
two of my
it's not on my pull list either. But if the comic book shop that I go to, shout out Grand Slam Comics, has a copy, I will pick it up.
For the first time in many years, I finally created a poll list. Shout out to Legend Comics.
Woo, there you go. See, I've been
poll list
doing
is
that for a
long.
while.
Top of my list is always, and it's a little high in the number, but I still think it's worth it because Volume 1 just came out. If you're new, Ryan North's Fantastic Four. Might be the best ongoing series of the big two out there, period. It's just hard sci-fi, like we're talking early, like Twilight Zone, early Star Trek, and it has just been really good. The stories, there's one like maybe overarching story, but the rest are like 1 to 2, 3 issues of just really dense sci-fi stuff, and so you can always kind of jump in. Like 17 I think is gonna be a good jumping in point. Good stuff, really a lot of fun. And then Volume 1, which is the first 3 or 4, is out, so really worth it.
Good catch up pretty quickly.
Yeah, you can catch up really easy. And then Ultimate Black Panther #1.
Yeah, see, that's something that they've been talking about is they're coming back out with the Ultimates.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Ultimate Spider-Man just came out. Within the last week or so,
and it was
last couple weeks.
Yeah, one of the best Spider-Man stories I've ever read in like years.
Okay. And that's another one that was a hot comic that was selling out places.
Yeah, that one sold. Yeah.
And so I would not be surprised if Ultimate Black Panther becomes a hot, because everybody loved the Ultimate series before.
Yep.
So the fact that they're bringing the Ultimate back is pretty amazing.
Well, you were around during the Ultimates, and I was also around during your Ultimates. People loved Spider-Man and X-Men. Those are the 2 books that were good. But this one looks like it's going to be all quality. Ultimate X-Men's already sold out. The book's not even out yet.
Wow.
And that's the one I'm also really excited for. So I'm excited for all these books. I want to like follow this new universe while it grows and see something really cool. That looks really cool. Just really, really cool. Yeah. Those are my 2 number ones.
Awesome. Well, and then just a couple other ones that if you're a kid from the 80s, Thundercats has got a new comic coming out this week from Dynamite. Red Hood, The Hill #0 is going to
that looked really cool.
That looks really good.
Yeah.
And again, I'm not a big Marvel DC guy, but some of these the stuff that's coming out looks pretty good.
Yeah, She-Hulk has been looking like a lot of fun. A Thanos book, like Thanos #3, like honestly it looked kind of cool, so I might pick that up. And Wolverine Mandapore Nights, which seems like a Wolverine book that doesn't seem tied down with X-Men continuity, so I could actually read it.
No, I might have to check that one out too.
Yeah.
What issue's coming out? Is that a #1 or
is it #1?
Okay,
and it
good.
looks to have Black Widow and Cap.
Ooh.
So that'd be kind of cool. The 2 that are really fun that look Valentine that are my pick. We get I love Godzilla. I love Godzilla a lot. So Godzilla Valentine's Day Special #1 by IDW. All the Godzilla books by IDW have been stellar and amazing. But let's throw Godzilla and some romance in. Let's see what happens.
Heck yeah. You can't go wrong with that. There's also, I mean, if you really want to get some cheesy romance, you got Archie's Archie Valentine Spectacular is coming out this week too.
That'll be a good one. That'll be a good one. I was just talking about Archie last night with my partner, Nicole. Quick question. You think Betty is mad that Archie dates Veronica and Veronica's mad that Archie dates Betty? Or are they kind of like a they're all cool with it? I think they're all cool with it. I think it's nice.
I think they're fine with it.
Yeah.
They don't care.
Yeah. And then also, if you want really cheesy, How to Lose a Guy Gardner in 10 Days, #1 by DC.
And that's coming out this week?
It's coming out this week.
Oh, yep. I see it there. That's funny.
Yeah.
DC's How to Lose a Guy Gardner in 10 Days. That is funny to me. I don't know if I'll pick that up, but it does look pretty funny.
It looks fun. Those are one-offs.
It does look fun.
Yeah.
Well, and that's another thing that I like about when they do these holiday themed books. They might do like they might do a miniseries, but a lot of times it's just a one shot,
Yeah.
which
Yep.
easy to pick up.
Mm-hmm.
Another book coming out by Image that looks like it could be fun. If you're into aliens, Saucer Country, the finale #1 comes out this week. That
Oh, I
looks
didn't know about that. That looks really cool. That sounds cool.
yeah, it does look.
Yeah.
It looks pretty cool.
Um,
I also another this is First Comics if because it is February, it is also Black History Month.
mhm.
So you should be there's a lot of great Black creators out there.
Yep.
But there's a comic coming out, Space Negro, The Last Negro #1. That's hitting the stands this week. Did I lose you?
So this. Yeah.
Oh, I lost you. Okay, I was like, what happened?
No worries. We can, if you want, we can cut this part.
No, it's fine. You just lost you. Did you hear what you did? The audience heard what I was talking about. Did you?
Yeah. Oh, I heard it. Yeah.
Oh, okay. You just couldn't. You just froze up. Okay.
Yeah,
good.
just froze
okay,
up. Yeah. Yep. A lot of good stuff. And it's a little older. It's now a week old, but I do recommend getting up DC Power.
Oh yeah, that came out last week.
That was great. And
when we talked about that, about that last week.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yep.
And yeah, a lot of good books coming out this month. Yep. I recommend all of them.
Yeah, right. If you have the money.
If you have the money.
Another one that I just want to highlight before we get into, we were going to talk about some other stuff that is Dark Souls is coming out. That there's a Dark Souls book coming out this week.
Okay. Not the manga. Not the manga.
No, I believe it's just a comic. It is. Wow. Where did it go? I have it. I'm looking through my my list here. I got my browser open and I'm trying to find it. I had it there. It disappeared because I was scrolling and now I can't find it.
While you're looking
so
that
now
up,
I'm
I will then add if you're someone like me who likes to read comics in bulk on a budget, Humble Bundle just dropped 2 really interesting bundles. One is specifically like award-winning or award-nominated mangas, and there's a lot of cool stuff in there. Or if you're like me and you really wanted to read Radiant Black and you missed out on that, all 4 volumes of Radiant Black, including a lot of the spin-off series, are also all available in one big bundle for $18. So
that's a good deal.
It's a really good deal. I'm going to be picking that up and just blasting through those books.
Heck yeah. It's Dark Souls, The Willow King, #1 comes out this week. So looks like it's a miniseries.
Nice.
Yeah, but we were going to talk about, we're going to start wrapping up here pretty soon because we're trying to keep these to 30 to 40 minutes. We don't want to, we want to make these easy to listen to, easy to consume, and help you guys figure out what you're buying this week. You people, I guess, be gender neutral here. You people.
Yeah.
But before we get out of here, this week we're going to talk about some throwbacks. What do you got that you wanted to talk about?
Throwback wise, a couple of people on Threads have been bugging me about Spawn. So I'm reading. I have the first 20. I don't know if they're omnibuses or trades, considering how big they are, of Spawn. And then I have issue 10, which is not in collections. I have that somewhere in one of my old pull books. So I'll read that. Spawn's been a lot of fun. Out of all of the 90s images, I think it holds up the best. And then I've also been reading Micronauts #1.
Oh, fun. Well, you got, now you have Gunslinger Spawn. That's another one that's...
Gunslinger Spawn, King Spawn.
That's coming out this week, actually.
Yes, it is.
Number 28, but yeah.
Yeah, King Spawn's number 30. All for issue number 350 of Spawn to save it holds. Yeah, those have been good. Micronauts also is a lot of fun. It's Bill Mantlo, and I love his work. And all of his books are being reprinted. All of his Hasbro Marvel books are being reprinted this year with ROM and this. So I'm getting back on that.
Getting in all over that. That's great. Yeah. Well, one of the things I was going to talk about is for
Yeah.
my throwback. I haven't been reading it. I've already read it, but my
Yeah.
throwback is Criminal. And
Yeah, that's a
I'm
good
very
one.
excited about this because also we're going to throw in a little bit of comic book news. It's
Mhm.
not brand new news. It came out a couple weeks ago, but Criminal is getting a series. There's a series based on Criminal coming to Amazon Studios. And I'm pretty stoked about that because like I said, it is a great book. It's a great story that
Yeah.
covers, goes over multiple generations uh, in the city or whatever. And yeah, it looks like the comic itself was really good, but the series that's coming to Amazon looks pretty good. There,
Yeah.
if you're not familiar with Criminal, it is an Ed Brubaker and Sean Phillips book. It's a best-selling crime book
Mhm.
series, and it was so good. That's actually what got me back into comics back in like 2015. I had been out of comics for a while, went into a comic book shop, saw Criminal, and I was like, oh, this looks neat. Picked it up, and I was hooked.
Yeah.
And then I went back, and now I don't have all the single issues. I have a bunch of single issues of Criminal, but I have all the trade paperbacks. Went back and got them all, and I've read them all. That's like one of the ones I read all the time.
Yeah. I
So
have the first 5 volumes. I got that in a humble bundle as well. It's a beautiful book. It's so like grounded and
mhm.
like a good crime book. I feel dirty afterwards. Like I have to shower. It's a good book. It's a good book.
Well, then you know it's a good book if
Yeah.
if you have to if you feel like you have to shower.
Yeah.
But Deadline was reporting that that they're working on finalizing the deal. It's Ed Brubaker's obviously going to be heavily involved.
Mhm.
There was also I forget who the showrunner was going to be. Let me see if I can find it. I don't know, but I don't know. And people, if you're a big comic book fan, you probably already know this. But Ed Brubaker also he's done some supervising and writing, TV writing. So he's
Yeah.
a producer on Westworld. Um, he's done some other stuff too. Too Old to Die Young. He's part of that series. So he's been doing some stuff. He was involved with the Falcon Winter Soldier on Disney Plus. He's a
Oh, he
showrunner.
was?
Yeah, he was the
Oh.
co-showrunner of Batman, Cape Crusader, the animated series. He's already been doing a bunch of TV stuff. So, which is great. But it should be a really good series. I'm looking forward to it. It's funny. A friend of mine has a podcast, Comedians Who Love Comic Books, and the first time I was ever on there, he has like his standard questions, and one of the questions he always asks is, "Who's the character you would like to see come to like a movie or TV
Mm.
series?" And if my memory serves me right, I said I would love to see Criminal become a series. And here we
Yeah.
are, 3 years later, it's coming to series. So I'm very excited about that.
That sounds great. Ah, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, all
I
right.
still have their most recent book. They had 2 books come out this in 2023. They had Night Fever, which is a
Mhm.
really good book. I loved it because now they're not really doing single issue comics anymore. They're really focusing on graphic novels because
Yep.
they have Pulp, and then they did the Reckless series. I think there's 5 books in that.
Mhm.
This last year they came out with Night Fever, which was really good, and then Where the Body Was. And I haven't read Where the Body Was yet, but that's probably what I'm going to do today. I'm probably going to go read that book because I've been waiting for that book. It came
Mhm.
out late December. I didn't get it right away. There was a little little flub with my comic book shop. They didn't get any in, so I had to wait for it. Anyway, I'm very excited about that. So
Awesome.
that's what I'm going to do
I'm
right after
glad.
this.
You'll have to tell me how it goes.
It's going to go great because it should be a good book. I could be biased because I love Ed Brubaker and Sean Phillips, but
Fair. I've not read I've read Reckless. I've read Kill or Be Killed. I've read Criminal. I have Pulp. And I have not had a bad experience with those 2. I should read Winter Soldier. I think I might enjoy that. But yeah, there's not been a Brubaker book I've disliked.
yeah,
So,
it's
yeah.
funny. before I realized, so like I said, Criminals what got me, and then I discovered Brubaker and Sean Phillips as a creative team, and then that I was like, oh, now there's all this other stuff that I can go back and dive into, and and I went and I've been buying like the graphic novels or the trade paperbacks, so like I got the Fatale. I get the big book of that, although I do have single issues of that now because I found them for really cheap, but. All my heroes are what is it? All my heroes are
That was a good one. Yes,
yeah,
all my heroes are drug users
or
drug
druggies
addicts.
or drug addicts or something like that. But
oh, so good.
But yeah, so I got a bunch of their back list, but it was funny because somebody just bought me some graphic or trade paperbacks as a gift. It wasn't just random, not. They didn't, it's just random. It wasn't like it was something I wanted or asked for or whatever. But one of the graphic novels had to do with it was a Ed Brubaker run on I think it's on Captain America. So it was like, so it was like, just a weird coincidence that I got these, and now I'm like, oh, I have this. I didn't know I had this because I didn't pay attention to it because it was like superhero related. So I'm just like, whatever. But I was going through all my trade paperbacks one day, and I saw, oh shit, I got this book from Ed Brubaker. Like, yeah,
all right.
So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna read that. So cool. All right. Well, do you have anything else?
I have Dungeons and Dragons Fortune Teller, the first 3 issues of that, because if it's the last of something, I'll always buy it. So there's only 1 issue left of 1, 2, and 3, and they're all next to each other. I was like, all right, I'll grab it. It's based off a module that's coming out, so I'm going to see if it's good. And I'm kind of excited. If it's just a C+ book, that'll be fine for me too. I'll be enjoying it. But no, I need a new big project of like just big things to read through. So that might be Spawn or it might be Radiant Black. It'll probably be Radiant Black.
Well, that'll be fun. That'll be fun.
Yeah.
I've got so many new comics to read, like just because I'm always so far behind. Like I have 2 boxes of comics. Like, so this is my process. I go pick up my comics on Comic Book Day, and I have 2 boxes downstairs that I put my comics into, and then as I read them, then I put them away. So I don't put them away until I read them. And so I have 2 short boxes full of comics that still need to be read. And then that way I can get them put away. So
yeah, that's fair.
So I always have something to read.
That's fair. I don't get out of the shop until I finish reading a book.
You actually read at the shop.
I do read at, well, it's a coffee shop as well.
Well, that's that's true.
Yeah. I'll sit and have one of their nice muffins and a little. I have the Ray Palmer, which is an Arnold Palmer, and it's nice. It's a nice little me time, and I'll sit and read it. It's good.
They actually got me not into Plastic Man completely, but the Kyle Baker. They put me on the Kyle Baker Plastic Man. Yeah, and then they had a few issues, and I picked them up. And then that sent me on. I had to get all of them. And so I did finally get all of them. So I do have that whole run, the Kyle Baker Plastic Man run.
Yeah.
And that was thanks to Legends Comics.
They're a fantastic shop. If you're ever in Omaha or even Nebraska in general, go down there. It is one of the best shops there. I think they were nominated for an Eisner many years ago.
Oh, yeah. That's fantastic. Yep. Great shop and great coffee if you like coffee. So there's that.
Yeah. We have some at our house. Nicole grinds up the beans and
Heck yeah. Can't go wrong with that. All right. Well, I think that's going to do it for this week. Make sure, like I said, if you want to get in contact with us, you can send us an email at panelpixpodcast@gmail.com. You can hit us up. We're on social media, all the social media platforms as Panel Pix Pod. You can tag us, #PanelPixPod, all those things to get in touch with us. Let us know, we'd love to hear what you guys are reading. What are you excited about that's coming out? We'd love to hear all that feedback. Make sure you like and subscribe to the podcast. One thing you could really do, share the podcast with a friend, help us grow. If you have comic book buddies, you go to your local comic book shop, tell them about Panel Pix Podcast. We would, help us get the word out there. Leave us a 5-star rating and review because that's going to help us, rise up in the ranks on all these podcast applications and help us get discovered. We're very excited. We had about 15, 20 listens last week. And I'm excited about that. That's
Thank
great.
you guys for that. That's fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
But we want to grow. So tell your friends about it. Tell all your comic book tell all your nerd friends about Panel Picks Podcast.
Dan, for our listeners that are just audio only, if they want to hear more of your thoughts, where can they follow you?
Oh, well, if they want to hear more about what I have to say or what I'm doing and, check out, other things I do, you can also hear me on my other weekly podcast, The Art of Bombing, or you can follow me on all my social media, Dbub Comedy. And you can go visit my website for all my tour dates, dbubcomedy.com. What about you? What if they want to keep up with you, Jeremy? Where can they find you?
Well, I'm on all the social medias except for X. Same with
I left that place.
But we're both out of that. But
I'm out.
It's plum. No love lost. Honestly, I felt nothing.
Honestly, not to get too sidetracked here, but I feel way better about life now that I'm not on there. It was such a negative place and puts you in such a negative headspace.
See, here's the thing. I hated it because of it felt like, especially if you're a comedian, we'll get sidetracked a little bit. Especially if you're a comedian, it's like, oh, I need to write the most viral tweet so I can get famous. Be featured on X,
whatever.
Y, or Z. And it sucked. And now I'm on Threads and I'm on Blue Sky and
I'm on Blue Sky, but I don't use it very often.
I am hit or miss. I try and jump on. I've
been using Threads a lot.
Shout out to Comic Threads, by the way.
Yeah, Comic Threads, comic book threads. Yes.
Comic book threads. You guys are so cool, so nice. Been a big fan of all of you guys. Thank you for that. But if you want to find me, it's plum_Jeremy on everything. And Jeremy Plum Comedy is my website. Not a lot in terms of tour dates, although if you're in Kansas City, tell me what comic book shops you like, because end of this month, 23rd to 25th, I have a whole run going out there.
Awesome.
Yeah, so let's hang out.
I look forward to seeing what you get into when you're in Kansas City. What you find for sure.
There's a jazz concert I really want to go to at 1 a.m. It's where people from previous shows just come together and they make a jam band. And I've gone 3 or 4 times to KC and I've always missed it. And so
that's not comic book related, but
no, it's not. Well, wait a minute. I can tie this into comics because
here we go.
I want to get is at the end of Moon Man. I love jazz. I love jazz a lot. And I want to get deep cuts. It's a 6-issue jazz by Kyle Higgins, Joe Clark.
Yep, I know exactly what you're talking about. Yep, I see in the comic deep cuts. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep, and it looked pretty good. All right, well, that's going to do it for this week. Until next week, keep supporting your local comic book shop. I'm Dan Bublitz Jr.
I'm Jeremy Plum.
See you next week.
This has been a Tape Deck Media production. Thank you for listening.